understanding large scale data sets, petabytes and exabytes worth of data, is the next major frontier in IT. And understanding how do I browse through that intelligently is one of the hardest things that IT professionals are going to face in the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. And I can say that because I feel like I'm on the last half. I'm on the backward slide of my career, hopefully towards retirement. But 20 something years ago, if you'd asked me what it is, it would have been all servers all the time. There was this foundational shift about 15 years ago to VMware virtualization. And about 5 years ago, there was the same paradigm or foundational shift to cloud-based computing. And I think we're going to start seeing it in the next 5 years, a foundational shift to a cloud data model with large-scale data sets. And they already exist from the Googles, the Facebooks, the Pinterest, the LinkedIn, wherever they exist today. Those data sets already exist. It's now, how do I digest either a component of that, or how do I build my own data set, et cetera?
It's one of those things that I've always found interesting is that, right now you're talking about some very large companies that use this type of data to drive engagement and sales and what have you, and it's coming closer and closer to smaller, what we would classify as small businesses, and they have data that they have yet to even mine themselves. They've just been collecting it over years and years and years. So not only are you're enabling them to leverage that data, but then there's that next step on how do they leverage that information to make business decisions, and how do they implement those type of changes in information.
And all of that comes back to the ability to say, I'm proving that I know what I'm talking about with this set of data. Nobody wants to be the guy, and I've been this guy one time. Nobody wants to be the guy that drops a 200 gig database that happens to have all of the company you work for's document management system in it. In 2001. I've been that guy. I did it. It was not fun, but I did it, and nobody wants to be that guy. So you have to make sure you know what you're doing, you know the right commands, or you know the right activities, the order that they have to appear in. You make sure that you're not overriding data sets. If you're asking 20-something-year-old Aaron, what do you think the biggest single challenge is to your job? It would have been data. If you're asking 40-something-year-old Aaron, what do you think the biggest challenge to your job is right now? It would have been data. And in both of those cases, I was a SQL certified instructor, and I knew SQL 6.5 and 7. I knew the right commands, but I didn't understand the ramifications of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 after the fact. The certification exams as they exist today are starting to make sure that you know that if you do something in step 1, it changes what you're going to do in step 4. You can still get to step 5, but you might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you might go 1, 2, 3, Q5. Either way, you're going to get to that same point. You're going to get there, but the decision you make in 1 is going to change what's going to happen in step 4. But the exams today are now starting to get you to think critically that way versus, run a command that does this, done, and then I drop the database of 200 gigs in 2000, which is a massive amount of data.
Right.
Don't do that, everyone.
So, no, I felt like I derailed you here for a minute, but I always find it fascinating that process. We're enabling more and more and smaller businesses with this type of tool set, and then it's almost becomes analysis paralysis. How do you help them now use it?
And that, again, it comes back to, for me, if I have a certified person who understands, and I'm going to use data because it's, to me, the next big frontier. If I have someone who understands that, I, as a manager, don't have to necessarily focus as much time on it. I see back in the back left corner of your, or back, I guess my back left, your back off your right shoulder, a book, Extreme Ownership. That to me is the ability of pushing that command or that decision down a level or 2 or 3 to the person that works with it every day, that's seeing it and looking at it and going, how do I make that decision the right way? that decision should be made at the lowest possible position necessary, while still allowing me to think about what's next, right? As a manager, what's 2 steps or 3 steps down the road. I'm going to give an objective. Tell me how you hit that objective. I don't care, the path to get there. Sometimes I do, but let's get to that objective. Let's achieve that objective and then go on to the next thing, because I'm already 3 steps ahead trying to figure out, once we reach this objective, where do we go next? And then where do we go next? And where do we go next? Mm-hmm. It's October. A lot of places are in a budgeting position. A lot of companies are in a budgeting conversation right now, if they're not almost done, in the middle of a pandemic. How do you adjust? Did you take the right steps to say, I don't have to necessarily worry about managing this data set because I have my people that can do it, and they've proven that they can do it. They have that foundational structure of knowledge. I don't have to worry about that. Instead, let's focus on how I can best spend my money for the next 2-3 years until we're out of this.
Right. Thank you for watching Stratum's Cloud Interrupted. If you like what you see, please subscribe, like, and share this video.